remember back after 9/11, after the invasion in 2003, remember the playing cards? You all remember the playing cards, right? That the State Department and the Pentagon issued to soldiers in Iraq that had the, top most wanted terrorists depicted on the playing cards. You had Chemical Ali was probably, the Jack of Spades or something, and on and on and on with all these supposed terrorists depicted on the cards. Well, and this is just so unbelievable. This proves right here, ladies and gentlemen, beyond any shadow of a doubt, not only that what I've been telling you is absolutely the truth, but that this most recent uptick in activity that we're seeing right now happen in Iraq was pre-planned. They knew, they'd probably known for years that this was going to happen again because they've been fomenting it and making it happen. I mean, the whole thing in the beginning was not the whole crap of we need to, we need to spread democracy to Iraq and set them up with the government. I mean, they were set up to fail. It was set up so this would happen again, so this would continue to go on. I mean, remember when Bush and the neocons were in and they were saying, every week they'd be on TV saying, well, this war is going to last indefinitely, or 50 years, 100 years. It's going to go on as long as it needs to. So we know they've been planning on being there for a long period of time. But last year, just months before this most recent outtake has happened, the military have been issued a new deck of playing cards, ladies and gentlemen. And I am absolutely blown away. They have been issued a deck of cards depicting ancient archaeological sites and ancient artifacts. I'm looking right now at the Jack of Clubs, which has Anunnaki god statues depicted on it. There's the Six of Clubs. Showing this Babylonian, it looks like the Tower of Babel looking building. There's another one that shows some of the different ziggurats. I mean, they're all chock full, basically saying, here, be on the lookout for this, I mean, think about it. Their last deck depicted the most wanted terrorists, right? So the new ones obviously are depicting their most wanted archaeological findings, sites, and artifacts. Issuing these to them, hey, if you see this, while you're out there on patrol, if you see this, make sure you check it out. When Laurie Rush, an Army archaeologist and anthropologist, heard that the military had built a helipad directly on top of ancient Babylon, she realized she needed to do more to educate U.S. soldiers about historic places. It wasn't just for art's sake. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, we need to see how they're spinning this. Oh, we're going to create this cards to educate these soldiers on what this stuff is. Yeah, right. Let's educate them on it. Bullshit. They're not educating them on anything except what they need to be on the lookout for. This is a most wanted deck, just like the most wanted terrorist deck. See, they got all of the human elements out of the way now. Now they just need soldiers on the ground going and find this stuff because there's so much there, folks, that it's going to take 50 to 100 years, maybe longer, however long they say the war is going to last over there. It's not even a war. It's blowing people away. It's genocide. I mean, depleted uranium, mini nukes that they deny being used. I mean, they use tactical nukes over there like fucking out of Starship Troopers or something. They've been using them over there for years, and yet they still deny they even exist. And there's video, voluminous amounts of video all over the internet from security cameras in Iraq and Baghdad and the rest with evidence of these tactical nukes being used. They're not there just to take over a country and bring down its government and take it over for the oil and the resources. They're there to commit genocide and wipe out any remnant of any people that have a bloodline connection to that land. Because as I've talked about before, that was Saddam Hussein's thing. He was our boy. We put him in power. But when he started getting his hands on some of this ancient artifacts and this ancient technology and figuring out really what it was and having this stuff deciphered, he started realizing really what he was actually sitting on. See, they didn't tell him that. He found this all out on his own as a result of being an installed puppet dictator put there. They knew in as early as, and probably much before, but at least as late as 1959 when they started training Saddam Hussein to put him in power as a puppet dictator. They knew what was there. But they didn't know the scale of it, and our technology had not progressed to the point yet to where we had an understanding of really what a lot of that stuff meant. Now that our own technology has progressed and we have a reference point for it, that's when it started to become a priority. And as I've told you, when Judaism was completely lock, stock, and barrel taken from the Babylonian Talmud, which came out of that ancient area. I mean, when they came in and defeated the Amorites and took over Jerusalem, they took everything from the Amorites, lock, stock, and barrel, and took it and made it into their own. And all that information went back from the Talmud, which Judaism was based on, all came from the Babylonian Talmud. And the whole thing of the God's chosen people were actually supposed to pertain to the people who were the descendants of the original inhabitants of Mesopotamia. And that's why you have Jews and Arabs are both Semitic people. And of course, Saddam Hussein opening that up to the world is a major problem for the powers that be who run the world, who are bent on their own supremacy. That's why they didn't just go over there. Because think about it. If you really want to eradicate a people, why not go over there and just drop nukes on them, Hiroshima style, till everybody's wiped out? Well, no, because then they'll make it radioactive. Then they won't be able to get in there and get the artifacts. Well, we can't do that. And they're too chicken shit to drop the neutron bomb, even though they've had that for years. That shit's so scary, it scares the piss water out of even these crazy maniacal motherfuckers that run the planet. That's even for them, that's even a step too far. So what did they need? They needed some way to be able to go in and not just eradicate the current inhabitants, but use depleted uranium, use these things that actually change and alter DNA and destroy it to destroy an entire bloodline. They want to do identically to what they did to Native Americans, to the people over there in that part of the world. And it's happening faster and faster every day. Soldiers used decks of cards to identify some of the most wanted officials in the Iraqi regime. Russia's cards depict art and architecture, like the minaret at the Great Mosque at Samarra, with tips themed by suit. Diamonds mean artifacts. Spades mean be careful where you dig. The cards have been popular enough that soldiers asked for a deck for Afghanistan, and Rush and colleagues created cards plus pocket guides for architectural awareness and handbooks for commanders. Now a board member on the U.S. Committee of the Blue Shield, a nonprofit that protects cultural property during armed conflict, Rush has built online resources specific to locations of ongoing military action. Local looters try to sell Americans valuable items, and it might seem totally natural for a soldier to casually buy something. We're working very hard to educate our soldiers about taking souvenirs. Right. Again, bullshit. It's a front. Look, I know what the mission is over there, okay? Like it or not, There are guys who have been over there and they've seen this stuff firsthand, and like it or not, I've met some of them, and like it or not, they've told me 100%, beyond any shadow of a doubt, I'm 100% right, but it's even worse than I even know. I mean, it's wild, folks. But that blew me away. I mean, if that's not an indicator of what I've been saying for years, I don't know what is.